Hi guys, it's BB. Welcome back to my channel, my beautiful monarch butterflies. I hope that all of you are having a lovely day. I'm going to be showing you guys how I went about creating this super cute paper bag junk journal. And if you want to see my process, go ahead and keep on watching. I want to welcome you guys to the hashtag paper bag junk journal prompt challenge for 2025, hosted by our beautiful Karamia over at Paper Confessions and myself, BB's Closet Creations. Here are all the wonderful participants that made this possible. Thank you, ladies, for having joined us. And we are doing the first 7 prompts of the month of September. We will be doing a total of 30 every Sunday, so just stick with us along for this process. Today we will be creating a beautiful masterboard to add to our junk journal cover, and as well as including a focal point. So this might be a little bit boring, but I figured I'd bring you guys along for my process because I personally love to watch people's process as they create and just seeing how they go about just bringing together their project and just seeing their techniques, because you just never know, you might learn something new. But as far as my technique goes, I like to use an old vintage book, and I like to glue my pieces on top of it to get like a seamless, good adheration. This is probably not a word, but it makes it like a sticker, which is what I like. And here I'm just cutting off a little bit of excess, and as of recently I've just been really obsessed with like graph looking paper. And it just, anytime that I see it at thrift shops or any stores in general, I will pick it up because I just think it looks beautiful in projects and it adds a wonderful touch to any creation, especially like collages. And I just thought, I was like, it's perfect for my masterboard. So yeah, when I first started creating masterboards, it was really difficult to figure out, like, how do I know what paper goes where? And as I started to learn about it, I just kind of grabbed whatever papers I thought looked pretty, but more or less now I feel like I've gravitated towards tones that are similarly alike. So that meaning like ledger papers or like beigey tones, things like that. So here I'm cutting off the excess of some tea-dyed paper that I recently made, and I'm just sticking to very neutral tones because I definitely want my focal point to stick out. And whenever I'm doing my masterboards, I've also learned that it's best when you work off corners. So whenever I'm essentially like attaching my papers, I'm attaching it to a corner that I had already placed down on my paper. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but I didn't know this when I first started. So if it's a good tip for you and you're a beginner and you're watching this video, then I'd like to point that out, because so many times I would just see people just gluing down papers and I didn't know there was like a method to it, but I feel like this is what worked for me. And so here you can kind of see I've glued it right over a corner piece. And then I burnish it with like my, what is this thing called? I guess it's a form of like a bone folder. I don't know. And you also want to add little bits of texture to your masterboard just to give it more of like pretty dimension, and it gives your eye something to gravitate towards, right? And then here I went a little too harsh, but that's okay because we're working with a masterboard and it's very eclectic. So we're just continuing to add on to several corners and edges. So work off of corners and edges. I probably am repeating myself a lot, but I wish I would have known this when I first started. Some of these papers that I'm like tearing off the excess or like cutting off the excess, I'm using them because some of them are just so cute and it just works great with my masterboard. So, and then here I'm gonna go in with some of this like bluish green tone, and I think it just paired up really nicely with the paper sacks, the little sandwich baggies that I have, and the hues are pretty similar, so I figured I'd go in with some of this to add color to my masterboard. I also forgot to mention that Kara gave us complete freedom to pick out whatever theme we want for our journal, and mine's just going to be eclectic and botanical for the most part. Here's some vintage wallpaper, and I love the little leaflets on it and the soft beige tones to it as well. Also, if it seems like it's going really fast, I have sped up the time on this just because I don't think you guys want to sit through all of this in real time, because although I feel like I was working pretty fast, this is going to be a long video because we got 6 more prompts to go, you know? I also picked up this wrapping paper from a liquidation sale, and I just think it's so stinking cute. I wrapped up a birthday gift for the month of August, and I kept the scraps, and I think it's just so pretty. Again, I love anything botanical, anything floral, and I just love like the art of this paper and the tones. It's just like little beigey tones, so cute. And I think I also used a scrap of this too. And again, placing it over a corner, an edge, and it just comes together so very nicely. I feel like I hadn't made a masterboard in a while, and I also want to tell Kara thank you for having created these prompts, because I feel like it kind of gave me some insight into her thought process when it comes to her making journals, because I'm so very inspired by her artwork, and it just made me think of like when she's creating a journal, this is more or less like how she thinks of what she wants to incorporate into a journal to make it just come together nicely. Whenever I've seen her flip through her junk journals, I love to look at all the detail that she puts into them. So at the end of this collaboration, we will have a final flip through of all the prompts that we have created throughout the month of September. And if you two want to look for like more inspiration, be sure and check out all the other creators, because they all have their own interpretation, their own looks on like how they want to create with their prompts. And I just think it's so neat that everybody has their own unique style, and I'm just looking forward to seeing what everybody creates. So thank you, Kara, for having invited me to this collaboration. I can't wait to see what everybody creates. So here I'm going in with some of my textured wallpaper that I embossed, and just embossed paper has been a favorite of mine. My mama gave me this wallpaper, and when she handed it to me, I was like, ooh, I could just totally see this wallpaper being embossed, and just adding texture to it would just make it so pretty. And I've been obsessed with it. I just think it's gorgeous. I've also just kind of been really drawn to embossing folders for like my, what is it called? What's that machine? Like the die cutting machine, but you can also emboss with it. So yeah, I've just been going crazy with it. And I'm gonna be really sad when I run out of this wallpaper, because I feel like it's so universal. Okay, so this little floral piece that you see with like the little white flower, I think this is like liner for like drawers. And I had cut out a piece of this for a project, and I just thought it would make for a perfect focal point because of the little orange and greens in it, which matches perfectly up with like the tones that I'm using within this masterboard. And then here I didn't burnish it right the way I should have, and there was creases in it, but I mean, it's a junk journal, so I feel like it just adds a little bit of character to it. And then I ended up making the scalloped edge with like wallpaper again, and then just continuing on with added textures, because I feel like us as junk journalers, we are so drawn to textures like these. So I'm adding it to the little edge here, and then I'm just gonna cut off the excess. And save your pieces, save your scraps, because they're gonna make for cute like additions to future junk journals. And then I also remembered I had washi tapes, and I wanted to incorporate some of those washi tapes into my project as well. I went ahead and selected the top 3 favorites in my stash, and I like them because they have a variety of colors within the washi tape. And then I want to add extra glue to it just because I feel like washi tapes don't stick very well sometimes, and I want to ensure that they stick on my project for a very, very long time. This one has like a map aesthetic to it, which I thought was perfect because it also has like a little bit of purple hues to it. And I feel like when map pages are used in projects, you can include many more colors. So I'm gonna go ahead and adhere that here. And then this one has like script, which I think is perfect. I'm so in love with script anything. Script paper, script washi, script whatever. And I'm also gonna incorporate that into my project. Sometimes I have also gone in with like double-sided tape, which is great for washi tape because I feel like it also just adheres it that much better, you know? And I feel like after I add these washi tapes, I feel like at this point I'm pretty content with how the masterboard is coming together, and then I will just end up cutting it to size 2, my cover of my junk journal. Here I feel like when there's scalloped edges, I feel like a tapping motion is best because then the glue won't peek out of the little tiny perforations in the scalloped edge. So also, looking back at this while I was editing, I did not realize how much I used my bad finger to make my projects. That I was like, I did not realize that my bad fingers are my preferred fingers for crafting. Okay, so here, totally not necessary, but I did it just to add like I don't know, maybe like half an inch to my bags, because I could easily fold them and then cut off the excess, which is the base of the bag. But I didn't want to do that. I wanted my bags to end up a little bit longer. But here's where I ran into some problem. I got these from Dollar Tree, and these bags are not the best. So I'm kind of glad that I did go in with like the liquidation sandwich baggies, the liquidation cell baggies that I got, which are the colored ones that y'all are seeing underneath the sandwich bags. So these are Dollar Tree. I don't recommend it unless you're just gonna use them and fold them in half. Unlike me, I wanted to keep as much of the bag as I could. And in hindsight, maybe this was like a waste of time, but I wanted my pages to be just slightly longer. So I'm going to cut off a little bit of the edge there, but somewhat keep some of it. And then you can tell the difference completely with these bags because they just come apart that much easier. And I think it looks nice. I feel like it worked a lot better for me. So just going in with my bone folder and opening them up nicely. And then again, I don't get to keep much of the bag, but some of it. And then here I'm just gonna widen it up because I feel like I want to give myself a lot more space within my journaling pages of the journal. So here you can see me kind of flattening it out, opening it up, and yeah, later on you'll see me folding them in half, but for now I'm just showing you guys my process and bringing you guys along for any newbies that are watching this video. I was really happy with like the color selection of these sandwich baggies. If I find any more of them, best believe I'm going to pick them up. And for, I don't know, I guess like added effect, I've left the sound on some of these slides of the video just because I think it's just like satisfying. So here again, going in with this cheap Dollar Tree bag. I don't like them, do not recommend, but I mean, if you have a good way of reinforcing your sandwich baggies, then by all means, be my guest. And this is the last bag in my stash, just opening it up, and then again, I'm just going to be cutting off a little bit of the edges. Also, you don't have to use sandwich baggies for your project. Kara actually uploaded, which that's going to be linked down below. You can most certainly use like the paper shopping bags if you want to. Those will work just as fine too. And here I'm just showing you and demonstrating what little I kept of the bags. Yeah, I'm really going about it the long way, but it's what makes me happy, so we're just gonna run with it. And then here I'm just gonna fold our baggies in half after they've been cut to size. And then you can see that there's obviously some very prominent wrinkles on the bags. But I'm going to go ahead and keep those on the inside, and you can see me pointing to it here. Ugly side is going to be glued on. And I'm going to put a G. Further in the video, you'll see me write a G, which represents for glue. That's the side I'm going to be gluing on to hide the creases, because I feel like ugly creases can be hidden. So here you see me writing a G, and I'm going to be gluing down on the side of that bag just to, I guess, hide it, which doesn't necessarily hide it, because you'll see what I mean. I overthink things and I'm thinking like, yay, I'm so smart, I'm gluing the creases side to hide the ugly side of the bag, but in reality it still somewhat shows. So I don't know, if you want to use that tip, you can. And then here, just to save us some time, I had already pre-chosen some signatures to go inside of my paper bag. Signatures. Not that you have to do it, but I chose to do it because I'm extra and why not? I'm sure some of the other creators will have done this too. So now we have all our 6 signatures to complete our journal, and then I just love the feel of how spongy all of it just felt together. I thought it was so cute. And then here I'm just demonstrating that I'm going to be stitching down the middle with my sewing machine. Not that you have to, but I'm going to. That's just going to stitch in our signatures, because the way I'm going to do my spine is a spine that I have never made in my life before. But I was kind of looking forward to it because I wanted to try new techniques, which I think is one of the perks of this collaboration, is that there's prompts that Kara chose for us that I have never tried before. So I feel like I'm going out of my comfort zone and trying new things. So now that I've stitched all 6 of my signatures, I'm going to glue them together. And you can see that I don't exactly go in all of the way into the signatures. You can kind of see I just keep like maybe like an inch away from the edge, inner edge of the journal, which will give us room for expansion when we do go to put it in our spine. It'll all work together. So again, you can kind of see another inch there that I leave without gluing, and then I'm gluing the ugly I feel like I'm saying a lot. I'm gluing the ugly ends of the journals together because I feel like they're gonna be hidden, but they're really not. Whatever. Anyways, so yeah, ugly edges to ugly edges glued together. Blah blah blah. And then last but not least, we're going to glue this beautiful signature to the paper bag, to the Dollar Tree paper bag. They're so flimsy. I thought they were going to add pretty colors to my journal, but they were bad. I wasn't happy with them, but ultimately I think the journal came together nicely. And I think that's like the art of junk journaling, is like you take something that's not supposed to be pretty and you make it pretty, right? Okay, so here I'm just making sure that they've glued just right, and then here is a little bit of excess glue, and I'm just removing it with this tool that I got from the Dollar Tree, which I love this tool. And then here I'm just going to cut down to size my masterboard to fit the cover of our junk journal. And right about now, I'm feeling so super confident that this journal is coming together so very nicely, because I had never made a paper bag junk journal. But I'm feeling so proud of myself, and I'm like, yep, it's looking so super cute. And again, I just can't help but squish the paper bags together with the signatures inside. It's just something so satisfying about it. Okay, so here now we're working on our another prompt, which was creating our spine and a snippet roll, snippet something or other. And I went in with all kinds of beautiful fabrics, and I'm so proud of it. I think it looks so cute. And then here I used a remnant of the paper bag and then put a little sentiment on top of it that says dreamer. And then I picked out this beautiful foiled butterfly that I'm going to add to the corner of where I stitched on my masterboard. And here I didn't stitch too good on my snippet roll, so I'm just going to go ahead and adhere that with my Fabric Fix. I actually went the other day to Hobby Lobby to find more Fabric Fix, and they literally had none. I had never encountered that before. So I don't know what's going on with our Hobby Lobby here, but I ended up opting for some beacon glue, which is what they had. So, okay, here we go. I'm not going to glue entirely the whole snippet journal or snippet roll. I'm just going to very lightly glue on the edge where the snippet roll ends. And again, this is just for expansion, and you can see I'm leaving just like maybe an inch away from the edge. And then I'm going to go in with my finger and just smear it out a little bit so that there's no seepage with our fabric, because I don't want it to bleed out into our fabric and then it look nasty, right? And I just love how the layering came together so very cute with our snippet roll. I love it. It just looks so very I don't know, kind of messy, but I love it. I think it looks cute. Just gluing the rest of our snippet roll as our oh my gosh, why can't I think today? Our spine. Okay, and then here I'm just wanting to see where my cover is going to sit, and then I'm going to add my cute little foiled butterfly to our cover. Yeah. I also want to point out to the right hand side of our little butterfly, I ended up attaching a sweet little tab, which came from like one of my birthday bags, and I took the paper bag and used a tab punch. And I really like the pink hues match up perfectly with my paper bag junk journal. I'm really excited to journal in this paper bag junk journal. I really am. And I can't wait to put all my memorabilia. And I know for a fact that I'm going to add a bunch of like my favorite fabrics, a bunch of my favorite papers, just like things that I've been hoarding, because I feel like when I've made junk journals for myself, I tend to put like beautiful fabrics, beautiful papers into the junk journals that I make to sell. So I feel like I'm spoiling myself with using things that I personally like and have used for other junk journals other than myself. Other than journals for myself. I don't know. I'm horrible at explaining, but I think you guys know what I'm trying to say. So here again, I'm just creating more layers with some of this sheer fabric that I picked up from Hobby Lobby. That's going to be just kind of peeking out at the base of my journal, which I think is so cute. And I feel like my journal is coming together so very nicely. We got cute fabrics peeking out of the bottom of the journal. And then again, I'm just going to make sure that my masterboard is adhered nicely to the cover. All right, so here I'm just gonna very quickly flip you guys through the journal a little bit so you can see the pages of what I have created. And our next prompt was to create something with texture. And here I ended up making a sweet little like journaling card with my, oh my goodness, I forgot what it was called. Embroidery. I embroidered for the first time and I feel like it just came out so cute, and I love dainty flowers. And then again, I'm just gonna flip you guys through the pages really quick because I feel like I didn't really show you guys the signatures as I was stitching them in. And so here I'm just quick little flip through for you. You're welcome. All right, so there's what our spine looks like. I think it looks adorable. Okay, so now here we're going to be creating another one of our prompts, which is a pocket. We got to incorporate a pocket, and I just figured I would create a lace pocket for the back of our journal. And here you go. It is in light blue. It's super sheer, super cute. And I can tuck in some goodies there with the remaining part of my masterboard. And now I'm just going to go ahead and glue that onto the back of our journal. Yep. And I think it's going to look cute. I don't know what else to add to that. Cuteness overload. I decided to use the remaining pieces of my masterboard for this because I feel like when you do use a masterboard, you're able to incorporate a lot of different colors that you can just tie in all together, as well as like with my spine of my junk journal. I think all the colors just kind of mixed and blended together so very pretty, and it just gives you more freedom to continue adding more and more colors to the palette that you already have. And then here I'm feeling so proud of myself because I just think it looks so cute. I feel like I'm proud to keep this journal for myself. I can't reiterate that enough. All right. And so for our next prompt, we are creating layers. And I thought about this one quite a bit because I was unsure of what I wanted to create, but I ultimately landed on like a scrappy flip up little booklet type thing. And I wanted to incorporate a lot of my favorite textures, a lot of my favorite papers, just like my favorite things. So I'm going with like a little bit of this wallpaper that has some little blue lines and pinks. Postcards, I don't know why, but I just love the look of postcards. It's a faux postcard, obviously, but I also am obsessed with like laces, dainty flowers. So there's like a little faux postcard right there that I put, and then a laminated, just tiny little scrappy laminated sheet, and then I used like rub-on flowers that I picked up from Walmart, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is gonna look so cute, and it just adds like a fun little element to your journals that you can flip up, I went ahead and I sewed them all together just so that it, doesn't come apart. Just because of laminated sheet, you can't really glue that down. So here, I just went in with a piece of my birthday bag, and then I added and attached August on there, and that came from a calendar that my sister gave me. And obviously I'm born in August, so I'm gonna attach that because it's my birth month, and alongside with my birthday baggie remnant. And then I'm gonna ensure that it sticks all together nicely by stitching it with my sewing machine. This was one of the funnest little thingies that I incorporated into my journal. And look how cute it looks. It's perfect. It's literally so perfect. It has all of my favorite things that I like to include in my junk journals. And I love the patina on the back of that wallpaper. It's kind of like beigey brown. It's so pretty. I'm just so in love with it. It's perfect. And then here I'm just going to find a perfect spot to adhere it to. And I think the front of it just fits so nicely. And I'm just going to go ahead and glue that down. I'm looking forward to watching everyone's videos when it comes to me feeling like I am in a creator's block. Because sometimes when I have been creating journals, I'm like, what do I put on my journal to embellish it? So this is going to be great inspiration for me to watch back and just find inspiration in everyone's interpretation of these prompts. So I feel like our layered like cascading little flip book came together so very nicely. Next up, we are creating a floating journaling card. So at this point, I'm not gonna lie, whenever I was creating when I was following the prompts and stuff, I was like, what do I create for this one? And I kind of wanted to create something different, and I ended up coming across this super pink wallpapered looking paper, and it was a little bit of like a thicker cardstock that my friend Felicia had sent me over from FP Handmade, and I wanted to pair it up with some of this beautiful vintage newspaper clippings that I had received in some Happy Mail, and they were so very brittle, and I wanted to have both modern and vintage mixed together within my journal, because to have both of those elements within a journal, I think matches up perfectly with my likes. So whenever I go looking for anything for my journals, I like both modern and vintage. And when those two of them collide, when those two worlds meet together within a junk journal, I just find that to be so beautiful. And so here I'm very happy with how the paper itself has just folded up on itself. Like, you can see the creases there to the left hand side of my fingers. Just the way that they are folded up is how I intend to keep them, just in that exact same format. And I was like, I'm not even gonna change that up. I think it's perfect the way that it just creased up on its own. And even if I had tried to uncrease it, I feel like the newspaper would have crumbled, but it stayed intact, and I think it's just perfect for my journaling card. And then to the left there, you can see that I have selected like a sweet miniature doily, which is very white, and I just think that it just came together so perfectly. It's beautiful, and I'm quite happy with how my journaling card ended up. For a while, I've always created my journals from like scraps and stuff, or papers that I know that I could probably try to embellish and make it look nice. But no, I want to go all out with putting things that I personally like remembering that it's okay to spoil myself with my favorite things. And just being selfish for once and putting things that I find to be my favorite, my beautiful favorite things. Yeah. And just selfishly creating for myself. So I'm gonna apologize in advance because I just get so caught up with creating that I don't even realize that my project is off center, and it's at the bottom of like the screen. So I'm really sorry. I got so mad at myself while editing back this video, but I hope you guys will still stick around and watch my creative process. So if y'all see a random little star at the top of my glue, I have tons of like glue sticks in a tiny little sack, and my husband was like, why do you put a star over your glue stick? I was like, well, just so that I know that that's like the designated glue stick that I'm currently using, so that I don't continuously open several glue sticks. So if you're wondering that, that's why that is. Okay, so again, I go in with some textured wallpaper and then that cute little doily, and they basically make a pocket. So I will go ahead and tuck something within that little tuck spot for my floating journaling card. And I'm gonna just go ahead and cut off the excess, and I will back up this journaling floating card with, again, some of that graph paper because why not? I just love it. I'm obsessed. What can I say? And then I also am going to be stitching around the edges of this journaling card. And then I just wanted to add a little bit of sentiments to, oh, and then like little ephemera pieces to our pocket. And then here I'm like, ooh, why not just use this little scrappy piece and glue the sentiment on top of it. This paper is so brittle, but I love it. I think it's so gorgeous. And I just love the colors of it. It just looks a little dingy and is so cute. And again, I'm sorry. The camera angle is horrible. I know. I can't even show you guys the sentiment because I'm just stuck in this creative process. I really got into it. And I just went a little too overboard with the glue. I'm just wiping it off, and then I picked this ephemera piece from like Paper Studios from our Hobby Lobby, and again just going in with florals because I just think they're so pretty. And there's that remnant of our pink paper that I mostly covered up. I think that's just kind of how it ends up working out when you start creating pieces and you don't realize like how much of the back pieces you are covering up, but I feel like it somewhat showed a little bit. So here I'm just backing it up to that graph paper, and it's gonna look so cute once it's sewed around. So this beautiful fabric that you see here, it looks like sari silk trim. I ended up getting this in one of like the sponsorships that I received, and I got quite a few of these, but this is one of the last pieces of it because I shared it with some of my friends in Happy Mail. And yeah, I'm gonna selfishly use it for myself. And I'm gonna reinforce it with some of this file folder cardstock, just to make sure that it's not very flimsy when I go to tuck in some pieces into the back of it, because one of our prompts requires a belly band. So here I go. I'm creating a belly band. It's a very lazy belly band because I don't think I did much to it other than just add this beautiful fabric. But I love this fabric and I love the blues in it. It kind of reminds me of like a peacock. And so here I'm just, again, like I said, I'm just to reinforce our belly band, and then again just stitching around it so that it's reinforced and it's not going to go anywhere. And I think it turned out really, really cute. And then I'm going to cut off the excess, and that excess that I cut off, yup, you're right, I'm going to keep it. I'm going to use it as a tab for my junk journal. So I'm gonna recommend that you guys be selfish too and keep some of the cute stash for yourself and incorporate it into your paper bag junk journal. Use some of your favorite pieces that you want to hoard. Don't hoard them. Use them up in your journal and you can treasure them forever, because even if it's like some of your favorite colors, some of your favorite textures, some of your favorite patterns, whatever it is, keep it. And yeah. And don't regret it. Just treasure it. Love it. I'm also probably gonna show you guys a close-up too, but y'all see that sweet little fringe that's like sticking out of my junk journal? That was from one of the handles from my birthday baggie, and I decided to make it into like a an edge. What would you call it? Like a little fringy like edge. There's a proper term for it, but it's just not coming to mind. Like a little frilly edge. But yeah, that's literally a handle from my birthday bag, and I think it just went perfectly with this journal. And so here I'm just showing you guys that when I have these little leftover strands on my journal, I knot them. I don't backstitch because I feel like, I don't know, backstitching is just not my thing. I'd rather sit there and knot the end of the strands of my journal. So if y'all ever end up with one of my journals, you guys will see that every single edge has a BB knot on it. I just can't help it because I just feel like I really know for a fact it's not going to go anywhere and it's not going to come undone. So I found this perfect little spot for it. I'm just going to paper clip it to my journal, and I love it. I think it turned out super cute. Alright, so now we're going to be creating a dangle charm for our journal. And this is, I had already thought about incorporating this into the little tab that I was talking to y'all about earlier from my birthday baggie. And all I got to do is just attach my grommet, or my eyelet, sorry, and attach my charm, which I think is going to look so super cute, just dangling off the edge of my journal. So I picked out these two different colored eyelets, and I'm trying to figure out which one is going to look best, and I ultimately ended up going with the lighter blue, and I think it looks amazing with like the tones and the hues of my journal. So I'm gonna go ahead and make a hole with my crocodile there, and then adhere my little eyelet to it. So here's that little fringe that I was talking about with like the paper party bag, birthday party bag that I created, and look how fun it looks when you're holding the journal like to feature its mouth. It's so cute. So here I'm just showing you guys like all together all of the prompts. So there's my spine. Now I'm going to show you guys my cover and its focal point, and just showing you guys like all 7 prompts. nearing the end of this video, I want to thank you guys for having stuck around. If you watched the whole entire video and put up with all my blabbering, thank you so very much. I enjoyed having you guys as my company. Please tell me which one was your favorite prompt, and let me know if you too will be joining in on this collaboration. Another special thanks to Kara, my crafty sis, for having invited me to co-host alongside with her, and for all of the crafty friends that decided to participate in this collaboration and made it possible for us to have fun with this and inspire so many other creators that are out there. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope to catch you guys on the next Sunday, and we can show you guys what other 7 prompts we created. And again, I can't wait to watch all the other creators' videos. And if you join, be sure to use the hashtag. Please tag us, because we don't want to miss out on watching your video and being able to comment on your creations. That's going to wrap it up for me, you guys. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. Y'all please take care. Bye.